Hi, teacher. Today I'm going to talk about cultural hegemony and how social media and pop culture can influence our cultural identity. Um, After reading the three articles and watching the three videos, I understood that cultural hegemony as the way that certain values, ideas, and beliefs can become part of what we see as normal in everyday life. This concept was developed by Antonio Gramsci. So basically, it's about how some ideas can become so normal to us, but that we don't really think about where they come from or question them. Well, media can influence cultural norms in different ways. It can reinforce social norms by repeating certain ideas or stereotypes, and it also shapes what feels normal because when we see the same message over and over, they can start to feel natural. But media can also challenge dominant ideas by showing different experience and different voices. In my own life, I see this a lot on social media. For example, beauty standards and certain lifestyles are constantly being shown in platforms, advertisers, and creators have a lot of influence over what we see. So, to connect these ideas with pop culture, I choose two examples to show very different perspectives. The first one is The Blind Side, which can be seen as an example of cultural hegemony being perpetuated specifically through ideas about race, class, and privilege. The second one is When They See Us, which can be seen as an example of resistance because it focuses on race, justice, and power, and give more attention to voices that were not always heard. I look into the stories and some specific scenes to understand how each one connects with cultural hegemony. In The Blind Side, Michael becomes part of the Tui family, and they give him a home, support, education, and new opportunities. This can be seen as cultural hegemony because the story can make it seem like a wealthy white family is the main reason Michael is able to change his life. So it connects with race, class, and privilege because it makes us think about who has the power to give opportunities to others. And at the same time, the story can obviously be seen as a positive one because it shows a family helping someone. But it also makes us think about how power and privilege are represented. When They See Us tells the story of 5 teenagers who were wrongly accused in the Central Park case. The series shows what the teenagers and their family went through, including the unfair treatment they experienced. I see this an example of resistance because it gives us more attention to their voices and shows another side of the story. It challenges ideas about race, justice, and power, and it makes us question how people in position of power can influence what society believes. So, when we look at both samples, perspective becomes really important. With The Blind Side, we can ask who has the power to give opportunities. And when they see us, we can ask who gets to tell the story and whose voices is actually being heard. So I agree with these interpretations, but I also think there can be other perspective. So the blind side, for example, can simply be seen as a story about helping someone, and when they see us, it's a dramatized version of real events. So looking at different perspective help us question what we see instead of just accepting one version of the story. Based on this example, I think that there are a few simple things filmmakers can do. They can avoid stereotypes, include different voices, learn about the culture they're representing, and think about who has the power in the story. They can also show different perspective instead of giving us just one version of what happened. For example, giving more space to the teenagers and their family, and when they see us, shows how including different voices can really change the way we can understand the story. One of the main recommendations is to include different voices. And when they see us, it's a good example of this because it gives a space to the experiences of the teenagers and their family. This lets the audience see another side of the story and question the version that was originally accepted. So media can challenge dominant ideas simply by giving people a voice and help us see an issue from a different point of view. And I think that's one of the main things I took from this activity, because the stories we see can really shape the way that we understand people and society.